From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang and here are the news. For our top story, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday led the change of command and retirement ceremony in honor of Philippine Air Force or PAF Commanding General Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City. Lieutenant General Pareño, the 39th Chief of the PAF, has held several key positions within the Air Force, including Vice Commander, Chief of Air Staff, and Chief of the PAF Inspector General, among others. One of his notable accomplishments was his direct involvement in the air mobility efforts of the PAF during the Marawi siege, where he served as the flight commander of C-130 flights transporting logistics from Guam and Arizona to the Philippines for joint operations. A distinguished member of the Philippine Military Academy or PMA Sambisig class of 1991, he graduated as class salutatorian. Let us now listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Today, we stand together to honor a leader who has served our nation with unparalleled distinction. Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño, as Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force, has led this institution to soar to new heights over the past 2 years. His steadfast commitment to the command has thrust Accelerate PAF with excellence, has inspired every airman to embrace the ideals of competence, professionalism, and responsiveness, the values that have guided your every endeavor. The legacy of your leadership is etched in the achievements of the Philippine Air Force under your watch. By logging over 2,500 flying hours dedicated to external defense and conducting 450 maritime patrol missions, you have strengthened our nation's territorial integrity and protected our exclusive economic zone. These are not just records. They represent vigilance, determination, and an unwavering resolve to safeguard our airspace. In these efforts, our skilled pilots have remained resolute, intercepting threats, monitoring unidentified tracks that encroach upon our airspace. Your courage is matched by their expertise, honed through bilateral, multilateral exercises like Cook Thunder, Balikatan, as well as the deployment of strategic assets to the Pitch Black exercise in Australia. These initiatives have enhanced our interoperability with foreign partners and reinforced the credibility of our Air Force on the international stage. In addressing multifaceted threats, your leadership has been instrumental. The Air Force carried out nearly 120 intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, efforts that directly supported our law enforcement operations. Moreover, 320 trafficked individuals were rescued from exploitation, millions of pesos worth of illegal goods were confiscated, and it demonstrated a relentless pursuit of justice and of security. The Air Force has also been a stalwart partner of this administration in times of crisis, embodying the highest ideals of the service. Through over 324 humanitarian assistance and disaster response missions, our airmen transported 1.4 million pounds of essential supplies, conducting as well 200 aeromedical operations, saving many lives. Complementing these efforts, you have also spearheaded over 8,400 civil military operations, advancing in environmental sustainability and public health, reaffirming its role as a vital pillar of national development. Your tenure, Lieutenant General Pareño, likewise marks significant strides in capability enhancement for our Air Force. The acquisition of one C-295 medium-lift aircraft, two T-129 attack helicopters, one mobile radar, one fixed radar, and 10 S-70I Black Hawk helicopters, among other critical equipment, has increased our readiness to confront evolving challenges. These accomplishments are a testament to your vision, diligence, and unyielding commitment to the mission at hand. After 37 years of dedicated service to our nation, you pass on a legacy that embodies excellence and inspires the next generation of leaders to build upon the foundations that you have laid. As we bid farewell to Lieutenant General Pareño's distinguished tenure, we now warmly congratulate the newly appointed Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force, Lieutenant General Arthur Cordura. The road ahead is not without its challenges, but I am confident that you will rise to meet those challenges. With your steadfast leadership, you can guide the Air Force towards becoming an institution that is more agile, credible, and responsive to the demands of an ever-evolving security landscape. To the men and women of the Philippine Air Force, your service is a source of immense pride for our country. Under this new leadership, you may continue to reach even greater heights, embodying the principles of honor, duty, excellence. These times call for vigilance and for resolve. There is no room for complacency, for any pause in our efforts to risk compromising the safety and welfare of the Filipino people. We must ensure that the continued modernization of our armed forces remains a priority, empowering us to protect the ideals that define our nation. Let us move forward as one, shaping a bagong Pilipinas where the Philippine Air Force remains a beacon of strength, a protector of the values that we hold dear, and the symbol of hope for our people.
And you just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has stressed the urgency of implementing the 37.5 billion peso Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Abra Irrigation Project or INISAIP, saying it is long overdue. According to the Presidential Communications Office or PCO, the President stressed this after the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA board, chaired by President Marcos, approved the implementation of the INISAIP during its 23rd meeting at Malacañang Palace in Manila on Tuesday. During the meeting with the NEDA board, the chief executive said the INISAIP has been presented for approval in several meetings from 2018 to 2024, citing that he had also been briefed about the project even during his stint as governor of Ilocos Norte. President Marcos said the irrigation aspect of the project would benefit the provinces of Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and Abra. The President raised the hydroelectrical power component of the project, noting that the previous obstacle was Abra's complaint regarding its water source that would only benefit Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur, especially with the construction of a power generating facility. National Irrigation Administration or NIA Administrator Eduardo Edigilien told the NEDA board that all parties would benefit under the new design of the Inisaip since the power generating components would be put up in Abra and Ilocos Norte's Nueva Era town. The locally financed Inisaip involves the construction of an earth and rock-filled dam, Nueva Era After Bay Dam, and link canals which will provide irrigation water to several NIA systems. Once completed, the project will irrigate 14,672 hectares for wet season and 13,356 hectares for dry season of agricultural lands with the Palsiguan River as the main source of irrigation water. The project implementation period is from 2025 to 2030. It is expected to benefit 32,604 families. President Marcos also backed the approval of the Accelerated Bridge Construction Project for Greater Economic Mobility and Calamity Response or ABC project following the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH compliance with the instructions of the NEDA Board's Investment Coordination Committee. The ABC project involves the construction of 7 bridges and viaducts to address traffic congestion along priority identified areas and 22 calamity response bridges to serve as alternate access routes during calamities. The project, which has a total cost of 25.681 billion pesos, will be funded through the Official Development Assistance or ODA and implemented from January 2025 to December 2029. The project aims to restore efficient connectivity, construct bridges that can alleviate traffic congestion, create permanent composite bridges, and provide bridges for calamity response in compliance with existing DPWH specifications.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez on Wednesday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will be holding a series of meetings with concerned cabinet officials as part of the extensive review of the proposed 6.352 trillion peso 2025 national budget. This after the President on Wednesday afternoon met with Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, and Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan to review the proposed budget plan for the next year. In a photo release, the PCO said Marcos and some of the cabinet members reviewed the 2025 spending plan to ensure alignment with key development priorities. Earlier on Wednesday, Bersamin said the scheduled signing of the 2025 General Appropriations Bill or GAB on December 20th has been pushed back to give President Marcos more time for a rigorous and exhaustive review of the measure. Bersamin said there is no final date yet for the signing of the 2025 GAB.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday thanked the Indonesian government for facilitating the return of Mary Jane Veloso to the Philippines. Veloso arrived in the country on Wednesday morning. In a statement, the president took the opportunity to extend his gratitude to the Indonesian government and to all who have extended assistance for the welfare of Veloso. The chief executive said the agencies in the justice and law enforcement sector would continue to ensure Veloso's safety, considering that the Indonesian counterparts have safeguarded it for so long. President Marcos made the assurance as he stressed that Veloso's welfare is paramount. Veloso was turned over to the custody of Philippine officials on Tuesday evening. She was accompanied by officials of the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA, National Bureau of Investigation or NBI, Bureau of Immigration or BI, and Bureau of Corrections or Bucor. According to a Bucor news release, Veloso arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA Terminal 3 in Pasay City at about 5:51 Wednesday morning on board Cebu Pacific Flight FJ760. Upon arrival at the airport, Veloso was immediately brought to the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City, where she will be mandatorily housed at the Reception and Diagnostic Center for a 5-day quarantine and a 55-day orientation, diagnostic evaluation, and initial security classification. Veloso was jailed in 2010 and was sentenced to death in the same year after 2.6 kilograms of heroin was found in her suitcase. She was given a last-minute reprieve in April 2015 when Manila informed Jakarta that her recruiters had surrendered.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang on Wednesday released the list of newly appointed officials of various government agencies and offices, including the Supreme Court. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. designated Robert Joseph Declaro as acting President and Chief Executive Officer of the Social Security System or SSS based on the list of new presidential appointees posted on the Presidential Communications Office or PCO's official Facebook page. The Social Security Commission, the policy-making body of the SSS, first announced in October this year the appointment of Declaro as the new officer in charge of the state insurer following the resignation of Rolando Ledesma Makasait. The President also appointed Dan Kalika as acting chairperson of the Asian Productivity Organization or APO Production Unit Incorporated and member of its Board of Trustees. In the Department of Agriculture, Eric Francis Lun and Agnes Mendoza would serve as Director 4, Jess Beth Kidasol and James Arthur Dubonco as Director 3, Nerissa Aldea, Estrelita Go, and Valerie Seiton as Provincial Agrarian Reform Officer or PARO 2, and Faisal Macabato and Carolina Erica Buted as PARO 1. Reyna Bel Reyes would join the Philippine Space Agency as Director 4, while Ray Thomas Cabigting would serve as Director 3 at the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. The Chief Executive also named new appointees at the Department of Public Works and Highways, including Danilo Villa Jr. as Director 4 and Brigildo Fabia as Director 3. New appointees at the Bureau of Customs were Manuel Zurbito Jr. as Director 3, Arnaldo Saulong as Director 2, and Felipe Joffrey de Vera IV and Jairus Reyes as both collectors of Customs Region 6. Maria Carissa Coscoluela and Teodoro Del Mundo Jr. were named board members of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, Jose Rabago and Rolando Tenefrancia as board members of the United Coconut Planters Life Assurance Corporation, and Onofre Inocencio Jr., member of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA Board, representing the National Associations of Private Technical Vocational Education and Training Institutions. President Marcos also appointed Maria Monica Costales as Administrator 2 of the Metropolitan Baguio City, La Trinidad, Itogon, Sablan, Tuba and Tublay Development Authority Council.
Dateline Malacañang.
Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez on Wednesday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will spend Christmas with his family at Malacañang Palace in Manila. This is the third time the first family will celebrate Christmas at Malacañang. During the Christmas tree lighting ceremony at the Malacañang grounds on December 1st, President Marcos said every Filipino deserves to celebrate the Yuletide season despite the challenges they face. The public may visit Malacañang for the traditional Misa de Gallo and other holiday activities for Filipinos. Dubbed as Tarasa Palacio, the palace grounds are open to the public until December 23rd between 6 to 11 in the evening for the Christmas activity featuring live music, food, and rides. Mass goers may attend the Misa de Gallo from 16th to the 24th of December from 4 to 5 in the morning. They may also enjoy the native Christmas delicacies like kakanin or native food and hot chocolate after the Mass.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Metro Manila Film Festival or MMFF 2024 Parade of Stars will be held on Saturday, December 21st in Manila. The parade features colorful floats boarded by famous actors and actresses comprising the 10 official entries to the MMFF. It will start at 3 in the afternoon at the Kartilya ng Katipunan and will traverse a 12-kilometer route passing by major roads in Manila. The motorcade will end at the Manila Central Post Office, where a meet and greet with fans will be held, followed by a music festival. According to the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA, and MMFF concurrent chairperson Attorney Don Artes, more than 3,000 personnel from the MMDA, Philippine National Police or PNP, and other agencies will be deployed to secure the safety and order of the activity. As part of the traffic management plan, MMDA will implement temporary lane closures and stop-and-go scheme from 12 noon until 8 in the evening on major thoroughfares in Manila. Motorists are advised to use alternative routes.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.